We appreciate you coming back to the CoinSeries channel. Request from viewer is, who is your favorite CEO and who is the best coin for you? You can also comment your opinion. Thank you to all the subscribers of our CoinSeries who came to our channel CoinSeries. You will always be info with the latest CoinSeries news. Number 1, CEO Brad Garlinghouse XRP and Ripple. Number 2, CEO Grayscale SEC. Number 3, CEO JP Morgan Bitcoin. Number 4, CEO Brian Armstrong Coinbase. Please like my video and subscribe my channel. Aside from the price activity involving Solana and Link, not much else is happening. Apart from that tranquil day, nevertheless, most things regarding flat up 2% down 2%, I don't see much reason to be excited about this. There has been a lot of excitement and FOMO, fear of missing out, about Bitcoin exchange-traded funds, ETFs, since they started. I am interested to observe the level of demand for these funds next week when trading starts. Except for it, many people are adjusting their portfolios. For instance, some people were investing in Grayscale's product, which is now an ETF, and much worse, a 1.5% administration fee is being levied. Better investment vehicles with significantly lower fees, like as exchange-traded funds, ETFs, from BlackRock and Fidelity Arc, are on the way. Therefore, I am convinced that it will eventually grow dramatically once all of that passes, and we have a better idea of the demand and daily trading volume. But the present circumstance is significant to me. In the following 30 to 60 days, it will start to manifest. We will be able to see where we are starting from and expand from there. A recent interview with BlackRock CEO Larry Fink provided a great overview of Fink's plans for Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency market. He has now officially said, "I do not see these emerging as actual currencies." This adds to his previous statements that Bitcoin and similar cryptocurrencies would not displace gold as a medium of exchange. So, tell me, what is he peddling precisely? Since he is holding investment hedges, you cannot simply go out and purchase currency units from him. Consequently, a significant amount of his time will be consumed by this. Nevertheless, with open and decentralized systems, you are free to utilize these resources any way you like. Of course, some people do use these instead of cash. They want to persist in this practice, despite Larry Fink's protests. You're absolutely correct that an Ethereum ETF might materialize. The only question is how much time it will take, given the current administration's anti-crypto policies at the SEC. Nonetheless, word will get out to the broader crypto industry eventually. The rising value of cryptocurrencies, he says, will bring about a tokenized future, and he's not wrong. The ownership shares in a lot of assets will be turned into tokens. By recording them on a blockchain, the transactions will become more transparent and drastically cut down on transaction fees. The future is here, and most assets will trade in tokenized form. Last man standing Coinbase has emerged victorious, and this Wall Street Journal story only details their accomplishments. 11 exchange-traded funds, ETFs, have been registered as of late. Among them, 9 have placed their trust in Coinbase, while 2 of the other 2, BlackRock Arc and Coinbase, are significant figures. Taking care of oneself is an example of fidelity, which is an exception to that norm. Their investment in Bitcoin and the development of this infrastructure have been substantial throughout the years. That is why they can do it. However, if you're looking for a person-finding service in the US, Coinbase is your best bet. After paying the charge, they will certainly keep expanding their business worldwide, notwithstanding the current legal concerns with the SEC. They are currently trying to make a push into Europe. There will be no mistaking their success. The Coinbase sector in the US, however, is booming right now. By the way, I was planning to mention this soon. Since I haven't blocked anything, I'm missing out on some information. I really don't need it. Charles, you gas brain, what the hey? Sorry, I'm confused. I could empathize if he's a lonely, miserable man suffering from a mental illness. Having spoken with the wrong tech, though, he chased Jeremy Hogan. Jeremy was speaking to John Reed Stark, who, as usual, had a pretty negative outlook on XRP and cryptocurrencies in general. Mr. Stark is not inciting violence. He merely cautioned that the XRP community would love him. This is completely acceptable. John Reed Stark must remain unencumbered, he says. John Charles jumps in and comments on how interesting it is that this adult is endorsing cyberbullying, causing Breno to gasp in shock. After everything we've gone through together, Jeremy would never suggest that we bother random people. In fact, it's Charles, not Jeremy, who has been up to no good. It was entirely acceptable to discuss opposing opinions with John Reed Stark, who was a little too gloomy, and he only wanted to make it apparent that he was open to hearing them. I have come to respect John Reed Stark's writing and discover that I can still learn something from it, even though he has a very poor view on cryptocurrency and XRP. However, I can't follow him on my main account, because if you reply to John Rees, horrible moments ensue. He blocks Shep without hesitation. I must admit, Charles Gaspereau is completely correct. Jeremy Hogan would never condone cyberbullying. The sad, little man he really is betrayed by his internet identity. His pursuit of Jeremy, in that way, continues to baffle me. The Hong Kong Virtual Asset Consortium reportedly delisted XRP from its global index. Why is this happening? While it remains a top 5 index, XRP is no longer included. Alana has so assumed its position. You must understand that this is how these indexes work. Well, that's perfectly okay. Unless it ranks in the top 5, the rupee has no business being there. In an effort to separate itself from the case, SEC is exerting considerable effort to acquire current financial accounts. What they're doing is threatening Ripple's current business. It is well known that the court still linked a number of those unusual transactions with the breaches of the securities offering, even though they probably shouldn't have. How might this affect the current Rippling company? Is that all there is to it? Is it possible for the SEC to obtain those and utilize them to advocate for a change that would be detrimental to current companies? Therefore, I propose that OB will consider moving to chain operations with an AM utilizing a DAX. Still, a lot of people think that using exchanges was totally fine. Why DAX would change anything for a deal is beyond me. This is obviously not a stock market company, so I won't go into detail about ODSL. Despite relying on exchanges for sending and receiving, the judge would have approved of the transactions if Ripple had dealt with the institutions directly, providing XRP and receiving payments. Also, the securities offering will go through because our XRP will be mixed with their XRP in an AML if they go chain. No one would know if they were dealing with Ripple's XRP, their XRP, or your XRP if a perfect consumer sourced liquidity from that site. This is a more effective method for institutions to use XRP on Ripple, and I think that's the idea behind it. On this secondary market, neither users nor buyers can confirm that the XRP they are buying is genuine. Problems with securities offerings and related difficulties should be avoided if these transactions are carried out on the secondary market instead of directly with the institution, as they would be more fair and legal. At least, that's how I see it playing out in the future. This is something that really worries me. Under the present regulatory situation in the US, how much may NFTs consume, given that the majority of them are seen as collectibles? Do not consider these investments. Providing, of course, that you are promising to start work on certain features the moment you get cash, etc. Regulator worries have led to GameStop's announcement of shutdown and listing on AT Marketplace. However, the SEC's stance on the subject remains uncertain, and there is room for debate over whether NFTs should be considered collectibles or securities. Therefore, many people will opt out of participating until we set clear standards. Which is why it hurts this region, when there are no clear instructions. Despite genuine desire from certain companies, they may have decided it's not worth it to implement blockchain and cryptocurrency into their operations. Why? Because you never know when Gary Gensler will emerge from his subterranean hiding place and sue you. You requested this article, and here it is. Its name is Ripple. The massive repurchase and ripples, according to the chief tech officer, are the result of insufficient liquidity, but, as I have already mentioned, I do not think this will be the end of the world. On the other hand, I think this shows that Ripple's isn't ready to go public just yet with an IPO or direct sale. Their stock buybacks are justified by this reasoning. After that, we started arguing about it on Twitter. David said, well, employees care that there is a path to liquidity for their stock options, RSUs, or whatever, after I had said something similar. Additionally, he suggested that going public isn't essential. I thought about this for a while. I mentioned that it didn't appear to be technically correct, though maybe it was for some. Since there appeared to be a liquid market for the shares, I began to wonder why Ripple was the one buying them again. They are wasting their money again by buying back shares. The company they're dealing with is still in its infancy and has no idea how to handle money. Why are so many businesses trying to expand when there is such a very liquid market? In his subsequent explanation, he made it clear that privately held enterprises and the equity market face the significant challenge of illiquidity. To put it simply, it is my main point. Regulatory roadblocks are currently preventing them from raising funds through an IPO or direct listing, two methods they had hoped to use to become public. I think their company isn't ready yet, though, and that's a contributing factor. They would prefer not to make those claims on their advancement with inaudible. Tokenization, liquidity hubs, and CBDCs all come together to form. To get those things ready, a little more work is needed. If I had to guess, I'd say that's the message they've sent to investors. Listen, if you have been going strong for some time, and your major investor will ultimately take their money and run, now is the time to relax and enjoy yourself. You are more than capable of doing it with the funds at your disposal. The time it takes to go public will increase. I don't get why you would say that being public or private is really unimportant. He concludes by saying that, without public trading, no one can make money off of their stock. Additionally, it is a concern when thinking about possible sponsors. If I'm serious about working somewhere, hiring new employees is difficult when it comes to stock options. Put illiquid stock options out of your mind immediately. There is a limit to the amount of internet nonsense I can spew at individuals. Don't you think that market is awful? Therefore, an initial public offering is something that Ripple will surely explore. This is not the time for it. That was my only point. When it comes to the news, I am not one to speak out. Still, I have faith that they will be successful. That won't even be possible in 2024 or 2025. The problem is with Ripple rather than XRP holders. Although a straight listing or initial public offering, IPO, would have been more appropriate if their deal business was indeed booming, at least we get a peek behind the scenes. It would be possible to forego waiting completely. It appeared like David agreed with me, and that was my only point. It is basically cited in this article. Put your 2 cents in the comment section. I beg you once more, please like and subscribe. Until we meet again, goodbye.